Hello, and thanks for tuning in for the first unit of Culture, Power, and Global Environment. If you haven't already watched the videos welcoming you to the class and explaining the academic integrity policy, I encourage you to press pause now and go back to those videos before proceeding. With that said, I'm excited to officially begin our exploration of how social, cultural, and political differences shape environmental problems around the world. Our first step in this journey is to develop a solid understanding of political ecology. Political ecology is a transdisciplinary field that includes scholars from across the humanities and social sciences, but particularly from the disciplines of geography, anthropology, and history. Though the term has a longer history, the field we now know as political ecology first emerged in the 1970s and 80s as part of an effort by anthropologists and geographers to incorporate political economic forces into their studies of environmental change, and vice versa. This was, in part, a response to the neglect of the environment among political economists, and in part a response to the neglect of political economy among human ecologists. Despite criticism from those who see it as unscientific, political ecology has grown steadily since the 1970s and is today widely accepted as a worthwhile contributor to our understanding of human-environment interactions. The data sources and methods used by political ecologists vary widely, from the sort of ethnographic research that I conduct, to archival research common among historians, to spatial analysis using satellite images. Likewise, the theoretical orientations of political ecologists range from those who work within Marxist historical materialism, to those who mainly employ post-structuralist discourse analysis, to those who, like me, take a more eclectic approach. In this course, we won't dwell on the disciplinary, methodological, or theoretical distinctions among political ecologists, though these matters are certainly open to discussion should they interest you. Rather, we're interested in what political ecologists have in common. So what are the characteristics that unite political ecologists? The first, obviously, is an interest in the environment, and more specifically in how politics shape environmental problems. What this means in practice varies tremendously. Political ecologists study, for example, how shifts in global commodity markets affect the livelihoods of farmers, how biologists relate to the animals they study, and how certain voices take precedence over others in determining whether a given environmental problem even exists. Amid all this topical variety, a few principles stand out. One is that political ecologists look to human cultural behaviors as adaptations to the environment. This means that human societies, even and perhaps especially those often disregarded as primitive, often have highly sophisticated ways of interacting with and managing their environments. As we know, however, human adaptations are not always in sync with what the environment can sustain. And so another principle of political ecology is that degradation of local environments is often driven by forces that transcend the local level. Against the tendency to blame local peoples for environmental degradation, political ecologists draw attention to how local land and resource use decisions are shaped by political economic forces that operate at the regional, national, and global scales. Clearly then, another common concern among political ecologists is power, and how differences in power shape all aspects of people's relations with the environment. In part, this is about how the costs and benefits of environmental relations are distributed. We study who has control over particular landscapes and resources, and who suffers the negative consequences of particular activities. But it's also about who has the power to institutionalize their vision of the environment and of the human role therein. Many studies by political ecologists show how dispossession of resources by powerful actors goes hand in hand with the imposition of those actors' assumptions about what the environment is and how humans should relate to it. Finally, political ecologists are very often heard arguing that the participants in human affairs are not, in fact, exclusively human. Whether it's mosquitoes and the diseases they carry, or trees and the fires they create, humans must always contend with the organisms and biophysical processes that surround them. In this sense, studying politics means more than understanding how humans struggle with one another for resources or cultural hegemony. It also means understanding how a wide variety of different organisms interact to shape the world in particular ways. Finally, Although there is no common political ideology among political ecologists, there is a definite tendency to seek greater social equity and to see social equity as an important factor in environmental sustainability. As we move through the course, you can decide for yourself whether you agree with the types of social changes that political ecologists often call for implicitly or explicitly. Now, when you read the chapters from Paul Robbins' Introduction to Political Ecology, pay attention to the distinction he draws between political ecology and apolitical ecology. How, according to Robbins, does a political ecology approach differ from one that is apolitical or that attempts to focus only on technical or biophysical aspects of the environment?